Okay, so we started yesterday like by looking all the necessary transformations by which like we can achieve some requirements. Okay, so we did like some where clauses, filter clauses, aggregations. Okay, so basic things we saw. Now, so today we'll try to take ahead the functions which we left yesterday. Okay, so we'll try to take that ahead. So what I'll try to do is I'll try to create a new Python application or PySpark application. So let's say this is like functions.py. Okay, so it's telling it's already exists, so we created yesterday. Okay, so let's make use of that. Okay, so let's take it. So this is like yesterday we covered, so let's uncomment this. As of now I don't need that, and even I don't need the data for now also, so let's comment this out. Okay, so yeah, this is required. Let's move ahead. Now today we'll start with like the most important like things which we face in projects, like playing with the date time functions. Okay, because that's where like more of the things comes and more of the challenges comes. Okay, so we have seen this like in Python also. There are a couple of methods which are available, like string pass time and string format time, to play with the date formats. Okay, so similarly here also there are various things which are available. We'll try to understand that. Okay, so for that purpose what I'll try to do is I'll try to cook some dummy data. Okay, so let's try to cook some dummy data. So let's say data frame date. Okay, I'm trying to cook some dummy data. So Spark. So now today's, so if you'll see now again, like today I'm trying to write one more new syntax, but again like most probably maybe from next week onwards, when we will try to read the file, all those things, so we will be following a generic syntaxes. So maybe like today would be the last day to see the, again like one kind of various scenario. So what we'll say is spark.create data frame. Okay, so in this we are trying to pass the date. Okay, so we'll pass the date. Let's say the date is something, we'll try to pass any random date. So let's say YY, that is 2021, and let's say Jan 15. So this is like one date which I am trying to pass, and let's pass one more date and let's give that as well. So let's say 2021, and let's give February, and let's give 15. Okay, so two random dates I have given in this list. Okay, and finally what we will try to do is we will try to provide the column names to these. So let's say the first column name belongs to my start date. Okay, and the second column belongs to my end date. And let's say data frame dot date dot show, and let's execute. Okay, so this is getting executed. Let's let it get executed. Okay, so now what we have done is we have just initialized a data frame which has two columns, that is nothing but start date or end date, and it has couple of dates. Okay, so based on this we'll try to play with like different date formats. Okay, so let's understand how we can play with different date formats. So let's uncomment this. This is not required. Okay, so the first thing is there could be some scenarios like where you will be required to change the date format. If you remember last week's scenario where we were trying to solve some use case questions on RDDs, there was one scenario like we needed to change the data, we needed to change the date format which it was coming from. Okay, so that was what we were trying to do last week. So let's see how we can do here also in data frame. Okay, how it becomes very easy and convenient for us to play with data frame. Okay, let's understand that. So first thing is, let's say change date format. How we can change the date format? So the data frame name is nothing but which we have created is data frame date. Okay, in this what we will try to do is we'll try to select the columns. Now we know how to select the columns. Okay, so the first column is nothing but my start underscore date, and the second column is nothing but my, okay, so what we will do is, okay, so in spite of selecting both the columns, let's select both the columns, no issues, that's not a matter. So let's say I'm trying to select both the columns. Now what I will try to do is I will try to cast, or maybe we'll try to change the date format of one particular column. Okay, so these are the two columns which we have created just now with this small statement. Okay, now we are trying to change the format. So to change the format, there is one syntax. And what is that syntax? The syntax is date underscore format. Okay, now this is not coming as, because we need to import that. So let's import date underscore format. Okay, so now let's come a little down. Okay, now in this date format, if you're unsure about the syntaxes, what you can do is just hover over it. It will give you what is the argument which needs to be passed. And yesterday I have shown you, like, if you are unsure of any syntaxes, what are the different methods, functions available, you can go to the Spark documentation data frame and search for the required thing. You will get there. Okay, so here what I'll try to do is I'll take the column that is that nothing but my start date. Okay, and I'll try to change the format into a different format. Okay, and that format could be, so as of now I'm getting YYY hyphen hyphen dd. Okay, this is the format which I am trying to get. So I'll try to change into a different format. So what we need to do, just we need to pass that format. Okay, so let's say I'm trying to say dd, so it's a date format. Let's say /, let's say YYY. Okay, so this is the format which I am trying to pass, and let's alias this, and let's say this is the new date format. Okay, and simply what we will try to do is we'll try to see the data. Okay, so this is, so starting with over here. Okay, this is getting closed over here, so we just need to why date format, let's close this over here, and why this is complaining, so this is getting closed over here. Okay, so this is getting closed. Start date and end date, select start date and end date. So I just need to date format, so even this is getting here start date. I just need to remove this. This is the extra thing which I inputted. Let's execute this. So if you remember, like in sequels, we mostly do these kind of things, and people might be knowing things like, if there are some scenarios given, like from a particular month I want to find a particular day of a week, or I need to add some days, I need to subtract some days, all those things we can do. Okay, so if you see, we have converted to a new date format as per the requirement, but mostly like we will get these type of date formats in opportunities in projects. That's what we have seen. Okay, so if you remember, like in there, like we had done either strp time, which was string pass time, or string format time. So here, like with the date format, I can do it straightforward and I can move ahead. Okay, so this is like changing the date format. If you want to like get the current date, okay, so from the given thing, so you want to fetch out the current date, what you can do is simply, so let's say current date. So there is one, let's say I'll pick this data frame. Okay, and let's say I'll try to select, let's say we'll try to select all the columns. After selecting all the columns, let's say I want to simply write current date. Okay, this will simply give me what is the current date. Okay, let's re-execute this, and I should have commented this out. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so it is telling this current date is not defined. Simply what we need to do is, I think we just missed to, now what here I'm trying to do is I'm trying to do step by step everything. What you can do is, in place of this, you can just remove this and place asterisk. Okay, so whatever the SQL functions under PySpark are there, it will be available to this Spark application code which you are trying to build. Not necessary to import or write that again and again. But as we are learning, okay, so let's understand what is required for what syntax, what is required for other syntax. For that purpose, let's write these things explicitly so that you'll understand what is there and what is not there. Okay, so for that purpose, I'm just trying to write all the things. But mostly in projects, what you will find is, or 90 to 95% you will find an asterisk after import statement. Okay, so they try to import whatever the required things are there. Okay, so if you are now you are getting the current date. Okay, so let me close this, let me comment this as well and comment this as well. There will be some scenarios like they will ask you like how to add the date, how to subtract the date, how to add months to date, how to add years to date. Okay, so there are different methods which are available in this, or which PySpark gives to us. You can take help of those things and you can write your code. Okay, so let's say what we will try to do is we will try to add some days to the date which we have created. Okay, so the data frame name which we have created is this, and this is not commenting out, let's comment this. So data frame dot date. Okay, what I will try to do is, let's say I'll try to select, select all the columns like how we did a little while earlier. Okay, after selecting, I need to use date underscore add. Okay, now all these are methods. Okay, so you need to keep on adding this. So date add, after that we will need date subtract. Okay, so I'll show both the things quickly. So I need to add some days to the date. Simply what you can do is, whatever the column name where you want to add the date, you can define the column name of that date. Okay, that is nothing but start date and how many days which you want to add. Okay, so let's say 2 days, 5 days and so on. You can do aliasing also. As of now I'm just skipping that step. So let's re-execute this, and if you try to do, if you try to give like minus, so it will subtract that date, or else you can use date underscore subtract and pass that as an integer. Anything is possible, means the way of writing the code, it depends on you, but ideally the behavior is that's what we would be looking. So if you see in 15th Jan 2021, so couple of days were added and it gave me like 17th January. In place of this, like if we just try to write date underscore subtract, so that should be subtracted automatically. Okay, so same like SQL what we use, the same functions are given by PySpark also. Okay, so hopefully you will be knowing this. So it's just like a syntax which I'm trying to show to make you aware how we can write the syntax, and slowly then we can move it. So this is like your addition and subtraction of your date. Similarly, what you can do is, to a date you can add months and subtract your months also. Okay, for that what you will need, add underscore months. Okay, so let's say add months to a date. Let me import that. So let's start importing from PySpark.sql.functions. Let's import add months. Okay, let's come a little down. So the data frame name is this. Okay, so we'll try to select all the columns as we are trying to do now. Okay, and I need to add few months. So if you want to add few months, so the first thing is we'll have to do add months. The column name we will have to define. Okay, so the column name is nothing but my start underscore date. Okay, and how many months you need to add. So let's say if we try to add 5 months, whatever the amount would be, whatever the date would be coming after adding 5 months, we should have that date. Okay, so let's execute this.
Sir,
And
there is an echo in your voice.
okay, so just like try, means maybe like wait for 1 minute if the echoing is going. So maybe sometimes what happens is that fluctuation happens and it tries to come back. Now is the echoing happening, or it's like good?
There is still slight.
Now it's good from my side.
Okay, so please maybe like either my
You
internet
also hear me
mostly
properly.
like my internet fluctuation happens, so give some time, maybe 30 seconds to 1 minute, because that's what we have seen the trend. Okay, it immediately comes back, but still, but do keep reminding me. I hope like now it's good to go.
Yes, sir, it's fine.
Okay, okay, cool. So now if you see, we just added few months and we got a new date. Okay, similarly what you will do is, if you want to add years, okay, so there is no specific method which is available, add underscore years. Okay, so you'll have to define something like into 12 whatever the number of years. So if I want to add 3, so what you can write, simply you can write 3 into 12, so that will be 3 years. Sorry, 12 into 3, so that will be 3 years. Okay, so there is no specific add underscore years if you want to do that. Okay, so these are like very basic things which I have shown, which you might be knowing from SQL. Okay, so what we can, sometimes there will be requirement, because let's say you are handed over a date column. From that date column you want to extract date, month, year. Okay, and whatever the things, you can do that also. Okay, so let's say we want to extract day, month and year from a date. So what we'll try to do, we'll try to do that. So let's say extract day, month and year. Similarly there are so many things. Okay, so like week of the year, day of the week, day of the year, there are so many permutations and combinations. Few things which are getting highlighted or which are getting recalled, I'm just trying to show, and later on the remaining things you can explore based on the assignments and the scenarios which you will be exploring or coming to your day to day. Okay, so the data, yeah.
Yeah, is there way here we can calculate like working days, net working days?
Yes, see, number of working days, what you will have to do is, so you will have to take one date and second date, and from that you will have to do the subtraction, right?
No, like in calendar, suppose in a whole month, I want to exclude Saturday and Sunday.
Okay, okay, got it.
So,
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, so you can do that also. So first of all, you will have to, in a one data frame, you will have to identify all the Saturdays and Sundays by day of, by using day of week in a month, in this. Okay, so in that data frame you will get all Saturdays and Sundays, and from the current, means like you will have to take the current date, start and end date. Okay, first day and last day, so you will get the entire day of the month, and from that data frame you'll have to subtract that, so you will get your required result. So it will not be a direct result, you'll have to play with that data, but yes, we can do
okay.
that.
But it's, yeah, I thought like in Excel we have that work days, end of the month, next month, like the function, where we can calculate using single function.
Yes, so we have like few things are available, so like there are months between are available, so maybe like we'll have to explore. Okay, but again, that is not a restriction that we cannot achieve, that it is achievable, just to answer like what you are expecting. Okay, so
Thank you.
in this, like what we will try to do is, we'll try to find out like few things as we were trying to see. So let's say the columns, oh sorry, so the data frame dot select. So first of all, let's select all the required columns. Okay, after selecting all the required columns, we'll try to find like year, month and day. Okay, so simply we'll try to say year. Okay, and let's pass the column. So let's say I'm trying to get the year from my start date. Simply what then we'll have to do is, simply we'll have to pass month. Okay, and again like we'll have to pass the column, that is nothing but start underscore date, and finally we'll have to pass start month and day of the month or day of the week or day of the year, whatever you want to get, so you can get that as well. Okay, so I think for the time being these are too sufficient for me. So hopefully let's import this year and month, otherwise it will tell us that this is not defined. Okay, let's come a little down. So moving ahead, because by this month end, so sorry, this month end, like we'll again, there will be a small project which will be given to you, that will be based on scope and hype. So next month, like will be, I'll again like give you one small project. Okay, so which will have like playing with this date format, because there you'll have to apply some partitioning concepts, and then at that moment of time this date formats will come into picture over there. Okay, so that's why like these things are being shown, and maybe like once you start implementing that, you will come to know what are the challenges you will be facing and how will you achieving that. Okay, so okay, so like you can extract year, month, day of week. There are, you can find months between. So whatever possible ways like we have in sequels, everything is available over here. Okay, the only thing is what you will have to do is you will have to explore. That's the only thing. Okay, similarly, if you want to find the last day of the month, we can find out. Okay, that also. So here I'll not explain everything now, so I'll just write the function name and you can explore it. Okay, so let's say if there is a scenario, if you want to find last day of month, you can do that. Okay, so there is a function which is given to us that is nothing but last day, so you will have to import that and apply on either start date or an end date or a date column which is coming in a file. Okay, you will be able to get the last day. Okay, similarly we as I told earlier, day of week is available, day of year is available. I want to find out, okay, so I want to give a user a flexibility, okay, from a particular year or from a particular month, which week he is inputting as a user, so I want to display that data. Okay, so that was one of my scenario project requirement, wherein like we gave a user, okay, if he will put like let's say 3, okay, so he will get third week of January data into his screen. Let's say if we put 14, 16, so that's how we gave him a range of like 1 to 52. Based on that he was seeing that data. Okay, so these kind of requirements will come. At that moment of time you will have to play with these all date formats. Okay, so at that moment of time we played with like day, yeah, so it was like day of week, so this was like we used. So again like same thing, you can explore that. Months between, again like we have, if you want to find out months between two date, sorry, what are the months available between two dates, yes, so we can use months between also. So like how we have add months, so we have like year months between, so minus, play, all those things you can do. As someone was saying like I want to identify the next day or fetch quarter of the day or truncate data, so even those things are available. Okay, so you can trunk the data, you can determine how many days are the date between two dates, all those possibilities you can do all over here. Okay, I'm not running into everything because these are like just needed to show you, yes, this is available, because major focus for us will be like, again we have to learn many concepts. Okay,
Seth,
yeah.
do we have any function related to calculate fiscal year or maybe the financial year? We need to
Financial.
customize it.
No, I am not able, because actually I have not explored, and even I didn't got the requirement for the fiscal year. I think you'll have to customize it. You'll have to use like add months and then do subtraction minus whatever like, and you'll have to derive that date or derive that start date of the year and end date of the year,
Yeah.
like how we
Actually,
do in, I think like in as Oracle. I mean, I'm coming from Oracle background, so even like there also we need to define, I mean like we'll have to customize that to get a start date of the year and end date of the year. So in a similar fashion we'll have to do here also.
okay. Actually, there was a requirement in my one of the particular project
Mm-hmm.
where we are giving a user to choose between fiscal year or calendar year.
Okay.
Probably some data visualizations would be appearing, some reports, and those reports can be grouped against quarterly, weekly, monthly,
Right,
and
right.
year wise.
Yes,
But
agreed, agreed.
depends on a particular year that they have selected.
Yeah, agreed, that is possible. So that's what I said, so it's not a restriction. And in my project, like as I told you, we had a requirement that the user was expecting a week data, so that's where like we gave them a functionality. Okay, so whatever week number he or she is inputting, So they will be able to see that kind of the data. So in your case, like it would be either fiscal year or the tax year, whatever, based on the country or the project you are working. So you'll have to customize your code according to that need.
And is there a way to fix the date format?
Fix the date format. I did not get this question. Fix.
Suppose my application is applicable only for India.
Okay.
The date format has to be always DDMM YYY.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever date customer enters, it has to be like entered in such a way that it gets saved in
No, no,
database.
no. If you are asking, like, let's say you are getting a, let's say if you are getting a junk data, and let's say this is a date column. Let's consider this is a date column in like
Okay.
DDMMYY, and let's say you are working for HSBC Bank, and let's say HSBC Bank is spread across all the globe. Okay, and but let's say the module in which you are working, it has only three time zones. Let's say US, UK, and Australia. Okay,
Mhm.
so these three. So what you can do is whatever the date format which you are getting, okay, and let's
Mhm.
say for three different time zones you'll have to display dynamically. First you will have to, like, means, remember yesterday we have seen a case when statement.
Yes. Yes.
So, and in, if you remember, in Python also we have seen that local time zone and the time zone format, if you recall that.
Yes. Yes.
So you'll have to combine that and you'll have to write that. Okay, so if this is falling into my UK zone, okay, so this is the date format which a customer or a user will be able to get as an output.
Okay.
If the user is like falling into a, let's say, Australian geographic location, so he would get that required date format. So that is achievable.
Okay.
So that will
Got
be a customization of the code. It's not straightforward, but again
Okay.
that is achievable because you just have to frame your case statements, and based on your time zones you'll have to use that data frame when you are trying to show the data. So you just write if condition. So if that, because see, let's say the data is coming, so in this data, let's say there are 10 records. Let's consider Saurabh is from UK, and let's say Saif is from Australia, and let's say Irfan is from US. So all these three customers will be having certain, maybe like customer ID or some geographic location pointer, right? So they fall into this geographic location. There will be some definition or some column which will identify this customer belongs to this region. We can use that column also and identify that, and based on that we can reflect the date format for that particular user.
it. Got it.
There are various ways. Again, it depends, like how you, means how the data is being how the data is getting to you, and what exactly at the end you need to throw to the user. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, so I think like these are like you'll have to explore. Okay, but again, like I'll try to give you the assignments and this will test you, and again, like these kind of scenarios I'll try to create, okay, so that you can use the different date formats and you will get that. Okay, so most of the thing which will be available in this only, so you will be able to get that. Okay, so there are not much, but again, like as the requirement pops up, like how Saurabh had some other requirements, based on that whatever the date formats which are available, we'll have to play with those things. Again, as I said, you are not sure which, like what is the method function I need to use. As I told you, not everything I can recall or I can remember or I can deliver. Okay, so what you can do is simply go to the documentation and see if there is something which is close fitting to your requirement. If it is fitting, take that and customize that as per need and make it move. Okay, that's how like you'll have to build your code and make it move ahead. Any questions in the date formats, like the most important thing you will be seeing is this date underscore format at the starting, which I showed. Okay, most probably because 95% in my project we are using date underscore format only. There are some requirements where we use day of week, but that is like a rare scenario, but yes, it's used. Okay, there is one more, like Unix underscore timestamp and from underscore Unix time. By any chance, like people who are going through Hive videos, did that scenario came functions in Hive?
Yes, yes.
So functions means like functions is covered, right? Means as of now with the video which I have shared,
Uh,
or no?
Function cell, I mean, the third video was
Okay. Maybe it can happen is like maybe like next week, the coming week, tomorrow. Maybe I share. It might be having no issues. That is okay. We can see that later also. That's not a big problem. Okay. So any questions, like if a given like any requirements, I know like I have not shown everything. Just like I've shown 5 to 6 various date formats to play with. Okay. But I hope like you will be able to play with all these date formats if a requirement is given. And again, like if you are getting stuck, always we are available to help you. So just post your screenshot in the WhatsApp. We'll help you. Okay. I hope like any questions before I make a move on date formats, because I think this is sufficient.
Sir, so
Yes.
in case we have a timestamp like the date as well as time,
Uh-huh.
so can you separate that as well in format date?
Yeah. So date format. So if you see, like here, let's take okay. So if you see here, there is no time format is coming. Okay. So if you like, when I'm trying to use current date, in place of that you can use current timestamp. Okay. So you will get the date plus timestamp, right? I
Right,
guess
right,
you were not available in the Python session for us. So again, here also we can do, and in Python also we can do. Okay. So in
right,
Python also we have done by taking the appropriate format like %y, %m,
right.
%d. So here also we can do that. So if you remember now only, if you see, let's consider it had like, let's consider it HHMMSS also. So here just date format, in this you'll just have to pass that HH colon mm,
Got it.
whatever what is required or whatever output you want. It's based on your requirement.
Okay,
You can
got
get
it.
that.
Yeah, and one more question. So, we cannot change the data frame, right? So every time we do some operation, we have to save it in a different data frame.
Right.
So is it good to, do multiple operations together and save it, because otherwise it will consume a lot of memory, right? For every operation, we are like saving it in a data frame. So
Can someone answer, like what she's trying to ask us is like, if you see over here, I'm trying to create one data frame over here, and let's take an example. Let's say change date. I'm trying to create one more data frame over here, and let's say cur date. So let's say I'm trying to create one more. So let's say there are 3 data frames which I'm trying to create. Okay, as of now, I do understand this show is available on every data frame, but let's consider this show is not available over here. And let's say is available. So did anyone understood what she's trying to ask?
yes, chef.
Okay, so maybe
Uh,
like, can we try to answer her, or if not, then I'll try to means polish your
yes,
answer.
yes, yes.
Can you repeat your question?
In data frame or in RDD, unless we have an action, it doesn't go inside memory. It just create that. So here in this case, we have 3 data frames, but we have show statement only on third data frame. So once this show statement gets executed, only at that time everything will go in memory and it will execute as per the DAC.
Okay, so
So
yeah, thanks. May I know your name, please?
yeah, Varad this is.
Varad. Thank you, Varad. Okay, so again, the answer was perfect. So let's reiterate her question and answer again. So what question this lady, ma'am, has asked? So if you see what she's trying to ask, I'm creating one data frame over here. Okay, then what I'm trying to do is, as we know, RDDs and data frames are immutable in nature. I cannot change the RDDs or data frame. So what we are trying to do over here, from the data frame which we got created, we are trying to transform that data frame into a new data frame. Okay, and let's, for the time being, I'll remove this. And again, what I'm trying to do is, based on my requirement, let's say I'm trying to use the same data frame over here. Okay, and I'm trying to again transform this, and I'm trying to call this. Now what ideally the question was, so when I'm trying to transform or change the data frames multiple times in my application code, that is Spark application, will it go like out of memory, or will it be like lots of memory used? That was the question. Okay, so as rightly answered by Varad, sorry, until unless an action is called, this will be not getting initialized. So like how it will happens is, let's say we are trying to create a data frame. Let's say we are trying to read the file. So what will happen? It will not happen that this will read the file and it will put all the data into this. After that, whatever we are trying to transform, again what it will do, it will try to pick this and it will try to read. No, until unless an action is called. So if you remember the Spark architecture, so Spark is lazily evaluated, which means that until unless an action is called, the transformation, whatever you have done, it is not available on the executors. Means data is not available. Okay. As soon as you call the action, what driver program will do, it will identify with the help of cluster manager on which executors the task will be getting processed parallel. That's where the Spark parallelism comes into picture. That is a powerful framework, distributed computing processing, right? So the answer, again rightly said by Bharat, that until an action is called, your transformations would be lazily sitting in Spark and there will be no utilization of your memory. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Got it. So,
Yeah.
in case I don't have a show in my entire script, okay, and eventually, like this is just for the exploration part
Correct.
that we are doing the
Correct.
show, huh? And then at the last, it saves it into some database or somewhere in a structured format.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, in that case, like in the last step, it would basically generate everything.
Right.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
if we take a small pic, maybe like a small, let's open a notepad. Let's say we are trying to read the file. After reading the file, we are trying to apply a filter. Let's say after trying to filter, let's say we are trying to change some date format. That's what we have learned a little while earlier. After that, again, let's say we are trying to do some grouping. Let's say again we are trying to do some filtering. And finally, what we are trying to do is we are trying to write this data, okay, either to a database or maybe like to let's say, yeah, so let's say to HDFS file system or maybe like S3, wherever is the need. So now here, if you see, there are no actions in between. So this is the last action. So once this is triggered, or means like when you are trying to execute this, now this is expecting a data frame to be written to some place, right? So this data frame would be coming from this, and this would be coming from this, and this would be coming from this. So there is a data lineage between your RDDs or
Yeah.
transformations.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how your code gets processed when your application gets executed in the cluster. So
Okay.
till the time whatever you have written, that would be just sitting lazily. So
Okay. Okay.
in my Python session I gave an example. Let's say you need to buy a car. Okay, so what you are trying to do, you bought a car. So okay, so you went to the some warehouse, not warehouse I would say. You, let's say you went to some showroom and you bought a car and the car is sitting in the parking. Okay, now in this car you have all the features. Let's say car is the Spark, and car has like, let's say, the power, engine, brake, wipers, all those things. Okay, everything is available. Until unless you are not starting it and you are not driving it, this is just sitting lazily over in your parking. In a similar fashion, Spark is also doing the same.
Right. Got
Until
it.
unless you are not calling an action, that is just sitting lazily. It is not occupying any memory of yours, or to be precise, cluster's memory.
Right. Okay.
Steph,
Thanks.
one more thing. I think last time when we were discussing RTTs, we discussed that these are just working like the pointers until unless we don't have any action.
Yes.
So is this correct?
Pointers in the sense, I hope like you're not pointing it to C and C++ where the pointers are coming from. Okay, so I meant to say like, okay, so if this data frame, so this data frame is coming from over here, so this is pointing to your previous RDD or data frame
It is taking a reference of the that particular
earlier.
data.
Yes,
Right?
yes, yes,
Yeah.
that context is correct.
Okay.
Sorry, just one question on the terminology used, lazily. So, um, till that point, is it like sitting somewhere? Like, is it stored on file system, or if it's not on memory, where is it like stored at?
It will be aware. See, this is like a code which you have written, right? So when you try to execute this code, okay, then if there is an action available, it will be going. As of now, you are writing this code, right? So
Yep.
this code is not submitted to your cluster, correct?
Correct. Yep. Yep.
So where should be this available? On your edge node, right?
Yep.
So it is available with us as of now. When I try to execute this or run this, what will happen? What will happen? This, with the help of this Spark as a driver program will be created. Okay, that is again like the architecture. So a driver program will be created. So driver, what will do? It will try to see what are the transformations and actions available in this entire application code. And based on that, it will try to create a DAG, which is nothing but directed acyclic graph. So it will try to identify what are the transformation actions in the code which you have written, and how many numbers of resources it will need to execute this gracefully. For that purpose, it will communicate with your cluster manager and negotiate for resources which will be required for this entire thing. So as of now, to answer, this is like sitting with us only on the edge node until unless you execute it.
Okay, got it. Thanks.
Okay, so any questions on this? Okay, looks good. Okay, so I think like people are getting like a little understanding from the question. I can understand, so that's good. A good positive things. Okay, on date and time, hopefully there are no questions. But again, if there are any questions, you can ask in between the sessions also, in the next week also, and in the WhatsApp group also. It's not the end of the date time. Okay, so that's what I'm trying to say. Okay, so now what we will try to do is, okay, so now we got some idea about date time. Okay, now let's try to understand something. There are some aggregate functions which are given by Spark. Okay, something like approx, count distinct. Okay, you know, average, min, max. Okay, but there is one something like collect list, collect set, count distinct, because this is given by Spark. Okay, let's understand those things. Okay, let's copy this data set. Let's go over here and let's create one more program for us. Let's say new, and what we'll say is, let's say data frame aggregations.ui. Okay, so this is the data which we will be making use, and for that we will be needing some initialization and packages to be imported. So I'm just trying to do copy paste. Okay, so this is not required. As time comes, we'll try to import that. And again, like this is complaining us maybe about indentation. Okay, I hope like when I'm trying to do copy paste, because these are all like taken care, and hence I'm trying to do copy paste. Okay, so this should not trouble you why I'm trying to do copy paste, because we have already written the code in previous sessions right from the scratch. So you understand what are the packages needs to be imported, how the driver program or the Spark as a variable or it needs to be instantiated, how the data is to be cooked, and how Spark as a data frame will be how a data frame would be created using spark.read method. Okay, I hope like all these are like good with you, so I'm just trying to make use of them. Okay, so let's give some column names, and as like we were trying to give, so let's say this is employee name. Okay, after giving the employee name, let's try to, what is the second column? Sales. So let's say we'll try to say it's like department, and finally let's say sal. Okay, so these are the things, and let's create a data frame, spark dot create data frame, and we'll be passing the two things, that is data and columns. Okay, and let's quickly do my data frame dot show, because this is the first time we are trying to create a data frame over here with some cooked data, and then we'll try to understand the different aggregate functions which additional Spark gives us. Apart from that, average, min, max, sum, count, is all those things. Okay, so it is able to get the result. We are good with it. Now let's understand 4 to 5 are there. Let's understand those things. So the first one is approximate count distinct. Okay, as the name itself suggests, it gives you just a approximate count. It returns the count of distinct items in a group. Okay, So to explain this, let's write a small let's say df1 equals to, okay, so the earlier data frame name is my df1, and I am trying to but for that what we can do is just to give you a differentiation. First what I'll try to do is I'll remove the distinct count and then I'll show. Okay, so let me do in this way. Let me change this. Okay, so let's take the data frame, and from this let's select and let's pass approximate. I think I'll need to import this from pyspark.sql.functions. Approximate count is distinct we'll need, and later on let's see if I'm showing that. Let's come back over here. Okay, so that is nothing but approximate count distinct which I am trying to show, and let's say the column name is nothing but my sal. Okay, and what we'll do is we'll just try to see the output of this. What is the output which is coming? Okay, so let's execute this. And let's see the data. Yeah. I have never come across this kind of scenarios, but again, like there are things which are available. This can be asked in interviews, like if you want to find. Now, what this is trying to do is based on the salary column, it is trying to find out the distinct count. Okay, so that's what it is trying to do. If you don't want to do in this, or if you don't want to use this as a method function, what could be the alternative which is coming to your mind? Whatever we have learned. How can I do this? Let's say I don't want to use this. Let's say if the interviewer asks you, okay, you gave this solution to him and he's happy. Okay, then what he asks is, okay, now I don't want to use this, but I want to get the same output from this data. What you will do that in that scenario?
Goodbye and then count
Group by on which column?
salary. So count of with suppose my count has to be
So
is equal
understand,
to
like
this.
if you will try to do group by, so let's say there is a group of 3000, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so you will be getting 3000 comma 4, right?
Yes.
But I will not be getting this count, right? I am expecting this kind of count.
Count of distinct cell.
We need like distinct rows, correct?
Yeah,
From that group, I will take only one.
right.
Then I'll move to next group. So suppose if I have a
Got it. I got the answer which I was looking for. Or maybe like, can I do like this from this data frame which I'm getting? Can I just get only this column and I remove a distinct and then apply a count on top of that? I can do that also, right?
yeah,
Right? I should get this answer, right? So see, you will have to think of alternatives as a developer. I know, like, see, this is like with the perspective of interviews. In interviews, sometimes they will try to cross check you. Okay, so whatever the solutions which you are trying to give them, they might tweak you just to check your logical and analytical thinking, or maybe like if a given requirement is, if a requirement is given to you, what will be your approach to achieve that? So sometimes they try to test that. So that's what like here also. So it's not always like if you see in the given assignments also, I always tell, do not use the function. Okay, try to do it programmatically. So that's where like they would be, that's where logical thinking and analytical thinking comes into picture, and that's where like you'll have to be ready. Okay, okay. Chalo, thanks Saurabh for answering that. Let's make a move. Okay, so we got a approximate distinct count on that column. See, we know there are other aggregate functions like average, mean, max, no questions. Now one more important thing is collect list and collect set. These are like free, it depends, but I have seen this asked in interviews. So what is collect list? You know what is a list, right? It is a data structure of Python, right? And it has all the elements, right? So whether it is a
Yeah.
whether it is a mutable or immutable,
List is mutable.
mutable, right? And it can contain like nested lists also, and it can contain the elements of different types also, right?
Yes.
Right. Okay, so don't forget all the Python, whatever the previous things which we have learned, because moving ahead lots of topics will be coming and bombarded. Okay, cool. Now let's understand what is a collect list. As the name itself suggests, it would be collecting the data in a list. Okay, how? Let's understand that. Okay, so let's say collect list data frame equals to. Now the earlier data frame name was my data frame. Okay, for that I'll have to import this. Let's quickly do that. Collect underscore list. Why it is not jumping and why this is not, because I have okay. So what we will do is we'll just remove this for the time being, so it is not able to identify what collect underscore list it is coming from. Okay, let's understand if we get some errors. Okay, so what I'm trying to show is, okay, so I'm trying to do a select, and here I'm trying to apply a collect underscore list. Okay, in this collect list what I'm trying to provide is I'm trying to provide a column, and that is nothing but salary. Okay, and just show me that data please. So that's what I'm trying to do. Okay, so truncate equals to false, and let's execute this small code. And why this is complaining, let's execute this code. Now what it will do, based on this column, it will collect the data and show me as an output in a list. That is what it is trying to do. It is as straightforward. Okay, collect list. So if you see, we are getting as a list, and all the possible values were available, we are able to get this. Now you will tell me why, in which scenario I will be getting this, because in my project there was one scenario, like as I told you a little while earlier when we were seeing the date time functions. Okay, so there like the data was coming, okay, and a date column was coming, but we needed to define a year, like Jan to December. And from that Jan to December, we need to traverse to a individual element. So at that moment of time, like I made a use of this function. So I collected that as a list and applied a for loop on this, okay, and I traversed on individual element, and then I wrote my logic which was I was looking for. I hope like I'm trying to make a sense when I'm trying to say something. I hope you are able to recall for loops, traversing, and the iterable objects, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
let me know if it is not syncing. There is one more thing, that is collect set. Okay, we know what is the data structure of set, right? Yes,
Yes, sir.
same thing will be applying over here. So what will happen, it will just eliminate your duplicate records. Okay, so we'll have the output of both the data frames, and let's see. So there will be just a difference of, I should have changed the data frame name, but that's fine, that will not be shown as an output. I have changed this method function over here. So collect set, okay, collect list, this will be used in few further, maybe like somewhere we will get some scenarios. Okay, so you get your difference, like what is the difference between these two things, collect set and collect list. Okay, so adding to your aggregate functions, we have this also. Similarly, we have first last function also, like how we do. Okay, and sometimes, let's say if I want to find out, let's say what is the sum of, like let's say distinct values. So at that moment of time, you'll have to remove the distinct values, and then on top of that you'll have to find out the sum. Or else if you want to do it programmatically using Python, so you'll have to eliminate the duplicate records, and then you'll have to apply a addition of that. So just construct or visualize like how this can be used. Okay, so these are the two things which might be used moving ahead. So collect list and collect set, that's why I showed to you. Any questions in this? Hopefully it's a straightforward. No questions? Looks good.
No, sir.
Cool. Similarly, we have like windowing functions to us. How we have windowing functions in SQLs, Similarly, we have windowing functions in PySpark also. Okay, so you know what is a windowing function. Okay, it creates a window similar to your group by. Okay, and whatever expressions or logics you are trying to write, that will be getting applied on that window. Okay, so they are called your windowing functions. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll try to understand those windowing functions now. Okay, so let's move ahead. So I'll use the same thing. Okay, same data set I'll try to use, because that is pretty much, I think I can make a group of like, and here like so I have this salary and I can make use of this, so I don't find any issues in this. Okay, we all know like there are so many windowing though so many analytic functions which are given. So there are ranking functions, analytic functions, and aggregate functions. Okay, so we all know what is row underscore number, right? So what does row underscore number will do?
You'll give the numbers.
It's a logical sequence.
It will give me a sequential incremental numbers based on the number of rows, right?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Yes. And let's say what is rank and what is dense rank?
Rank will give the sequential number, but it won't skip the row.
Okay, okay,
And dense rank will give the sequential number, but if for the duplicates, it won't skip it.
okay. I got it. Okay, let's frame that in a better way. So let's start with row underscore number. Okay, let's understand how we can write the syntax and how we can achieve this. Now, whenever you are trying, see in interview they'll ask you, oh, is okay, I'm trying to give you a data. Okay, what I want from you is, let's say there are 20 records. Okay, the first is header and the last is footer. So one header, one footer. So in total, how many actual records I have? 18, right? Yes, no?
Yes.
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 Okay, let's come over here. So I have a header, okay, and let's say I have, let's say 8 rows, and then I have a footer. Now let's say what the scenario is, they are asking us, you is, I want to remove the footer, I want to remove the header, and from this 8 rows, I want to remove the first 3 rows. Final output, I only want to have my 5 rows. How will you achieve this? Got the scenario, right?
Can you repeat this scenario
Yes.
once again?
The question is, I have the data like this. Okay. So the data consists of in total 10 rows. Okay. So what I am getting? I am getting 10 rows. So one is header, one is footer. So 2 records and this 8 rows. 8 plus 2, 10. This is the data I am getting. Now what they are asking us is, I don't want header, I don't want footer. From this 8 rows, again I don't want first 3 rows. I only want the last or the in between 5 rows. How will you get? Or let's make it a little complex, and let's say I have the data like this. So let's say 2, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So I just want third and fourth row as output. What you will do?
Will apply this row number function.
Offset and limit. Offset 3, limit 2.
Offset. Do we have offset in PySpark?
That I don't know.
So
We can generate the row numbers, and
yes.
based on row numbers,
So that's
we
where,
can
like, see, first
take
of
the
all,
logic.
this header can be removed very easily, right?
Yeah, header can be removed as well as the footer.
How you'll remove the footer?
I think we'll have to apply a logic so that suppose if we go to end of file, then start writing it in a reverse way in another file, like
So don't you think so? First you means like with the inferring of schema, sorry, by option dot header, this header got removed. I got the
yes,
data like this.
yes.
But again, like if you're trying to apply, so you're trying to reverse it, right? And then again, what you'll do after reversing, let's say f is coming on the top,
Then we can remove that. But I think it will take.
okay. So as like mostly
Uh,
like
we can get the row number and for
right,
hidden
right, right. That's
variable
where
code
like yeah, that's where these scenarios will
and
come. Okay, so now the interviewer. Okay, I got your answer. So you said like maybe like we'll use windowing functions, and I'll remove this. Okay. Now what if like let's say as a trainer I have taught you this. Okay, so windowing functions. But let's say if you are going in interview and they tell you, okay, I don't want to use this windowing functions. Then what you will do? Now tell me the answer. Okay, maybe like when you were trying to, when I started the session, and maybe like if you recall that I said something monotonically increasing id. Okay, so just explore that, you will get your answer. Let's come back to the session because we are just diverting and rerouting the time. Okay, so we'll try to understand how to do the row number. For that, what I was trying to say, we need to import one package. Okay, so from PySpark dot SQL dot, I think it is W capital or small, yeah, small. From PySpark dot SQL dot window, okay, what we need to do is we need to import the window as a class. Okay, done. So the first thing what you will do, you will import the class which is required to create a window. Okay, then here first thing is we will create a window. Okay, let's see how to create a window. So to create a window, so I'll just say, let's say this is window spec something. It's just a identifier name, or we call it as a variable name, right? So you can do anything from that class. Okay, and I'm trying to use some method that is nothing but partition by. Okay, in that, which column I need to create a partition. So let's say I need to create a partition by department. Okay, and if I want the data in appropriate, so I'll just try to do apply a order by. It's just like a random thing I'm trying to write. So I have created this window. See, in SQL what you will try to do is you will try to write this like this. So select salary, right? And you will try to write, let's say row underscore number. Okay, row underscore numbr. Okay, sorry, row underscore number, and you will apply a over clause, right? And here what you will try to do, you will try to define your partition by column, right? And you will try to define order by column, and finally you will give it as alias as, let's say, row number and from table. This is how you will have to do in your SQL, right? Same way, this window which we want in PySpark we cannot write directly. Yeah, when we go to spark.sql, which I have not taught as of now, we will do that in SQL way. But as of now, I am trying to show you in DSL way, which is nothing but your domain specific language. So here I am trying to do this, which means that I am trying to create a window. It means that the data which I am having, so this is the data which I am trying to have. So based on the based on the department, I am trying to make a partition, which means that all the sales which are available in this data set will be a part of one group or one window to be precise, and the respective salary will be in the ascending order. That is what I am trying to do over here. Did we understood this line?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And
Yes.
finally, now you will start applying your ranking functions, analytic functions, aggregate functions on this window. Always remember, whenever you want to do some windowing, you'll have to create a window based on your requirement, and then you will have to use them in your ranking, aggregate or analytic functions. Are we able to get that? So always remember this as a main pointer. Now what we will do is, let's say row number data frame equals to, okay, now so So what is the data frame name which we are trying to use? My data frame, right? On top of that, I'm trying to create an extra column. We have seen yesterday, right? With column, I can create a new column, or maybe can override the existing column also. But here I'm trying to create a new column. In that column, I'm trying to say, let's say this is my row number column. Okay. And here I'm trying to write row underscore number. Okay. And we were trying to write over. And here we were trying to write this syntax. So in place of this syntax, we will just simply pass this window spec what we have created. That's the only difference while writing the syntax in PySpark. Okay, what we have done, we have used the existing data frame. We are trying to make use of with column. We are trying to generate this column as a column name, and we are trying to use the row number, which is nothing but my ranking function, one of the ranking function, and I'm trying to use a window in dot over. And simply what I will try to say, just okay, so I've already done. So r number data frame dot show, and let's execute this small piece and let's see the outcome of it. There's a mistake. What was the issue? My data frame. It looks good, right? Okay, so it is telling row underscore number is not defined. Yeah, so I have not written this. Let me quickly just take this and re-execute this. Please be on mute. Okay, so it is telling that cannot import name row underscore number from. Okay, I should not have written. So it's just like quick things I was trying to do. It should have come over here. It is under functions. It is not under window. Let's see that. Someone is not on mute. Okay, so people will complain about the recording. So please be on mute, because different people have different surroundings, so the videos get disrupted. Okay, so if you see, for a particular department which is nothing but a sales, we have generated a particular row number, and as soon as it changed the department number, sorry, it changed the department, automatically my output got changed. Okay, so what thing you'll have to remember is, every time you'll have to create a window, and then you will have to apply your analytic functions or ranking functions what you were looking for. Okay, any questions in this row underscore number?
Sir, can we partition by multiple columns?
Okay, yeah, we can do partition by multiple. Okay,
So
when we
the how the row number will work on, like only the first column, or
no. So let's say if we are trying to write partition by, let's say department, or let's say by let's take a good thing. So let's say products. Okay, and from that products we have, let's say, product name. Okay, now it can be some scenarios. So let's say the data is like this, or let's say we'll take name and products. So let's say this is Saif over here, and let's say there is a Lenovo laptop he's using. Okay, so let's say there is Hussein, and he's using Dell, and we'll try to just replicate. Okay, I'll try to replicate in the sequence so that it makes a good sense. I'll not do this orderly. So here when you are trying to do partition by name, okay, so here the group will be created. So it will form a means like it will not have two partitions. If you're trying to think in those terms, it's not correct. So what it will do, it will take these two columns and club it, and it will create a partition of that. So this will be created a one partition in total. And based on that, then it would be apply whatever analytic aggregate windowing functions we put in.
okay.
Okay. Okay, so we are able to do row. So as rightly said by Sagar, okay, so what happens in rank and dense rank, if we have a repeated values on that column, if we are trying to find out the ranking, so when we use rank as an analytic function, the sequence are skipped for the repeated number of occurrences. Okay, what I meant to say is, okay, let's scroll. What I mean to say is, let's execute this code again. So right click and execute this code again, just to explain you with the data what is rank and what is dense rank. Okay, let it get executed. Maybe once we finish this, maybe like we can take a break of 5-10 minutes and then we can. Okay, now if you see, if we are trying to find out, let's say what is we all know what this kind of scenario is. Okay, let's say like here if you see 3000 for this particular group. Okay, for this particular group, if you see 3000 and 3000 is having the same salary. Oh, okay, or let's say Saif is having the same salary, and 4100, 4100. Now what will happen is, the number of occurrences which are repeating for a particular group, either it could be a single column or multiple columns. So let's say for department. So now if you see here, I would be getting 1, and here I would be getting as 1. Okay, so if we just quickly copy this data, and if we come over here, okay, what will happen in case of rank? Okay, so this will be getting a ranking as 1, this will be also getting ranking as 1, but this and this had the same value, and the number of occurrence of same value for that particular partition, that number of occurrences will be skipped. So there was 1, so 1 plus 1, it will be 2, so the next value will be assigned as 3. So here we are able to see that the sequence as a 2 is missed, and in the dense rank that does not happen. That is the only difference which we all know, right? Nothing new over here. So 1, here it will be 1, and here it will be 2. So that's the only thing. So how you will write the syntax? So in place of row underscore number, you will be writing your rank or your dense rank. I hope like you will be able to write that syntax and get it. Okay, so I'm not going into that, because it's just like you need to change rank and dense rank. You need to go over here and you need to import that rank and dense rank. I hope like you should be able to do that, or we understand that. So I'm just trying to skip that. Okay, any questions in that?
Just one question on window. Is it like a similar concept as in SQL? There is a concept of subquery or subselection?
We can relate it. We can relate it, because what exactly is happening is, let's say this is the entire data set. So if we write a subquery, okay, and in that subquery, let's say we want to get only the data from a sales only. So ideally, as an output, we would be getting only sales data, right?
Yep.
That would be acting as an inline query to my outer query, and whatever you are writing, that would be getting applied onto this. So you can say yes, you can relate it.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. I'm just keeping rank and dense rank. Why? Because you just need to replace over here. Okay, and I hope like, or should I show it quickly? Because let me know. It's just changing the syntax. Yes, no.
No, sir.
Okay. So at least give me some response. Otherwise, I'll quickly write it, because it's just like copy paste, and I just need to change it. Okay, but again, you will be able to do that easily. Then we have lag. Then we have lead. Anyone like what is lag and what is lead?
To fetch the data before the previous row.
Previous row. So that what is that lead?
After that,
Give the next one.
Yeah. So when it comes to lag, as the name suggests, lagging, okay, leading, okay. So whenever, let's say, if you want to find out the previous row data to the current row, okay, or next row data to the current row, okay, at that moment of time this lead and lag will help you, okay. Just replace this lead and lag over here. Okay, let's write this, a small syntax is there, it's just like a copy paste I need to do. So I'll just write for one, you can just take it for other. So what I'm trying to do is, I'm trying to take, so first thing is I'm trying to create a data, and let's comment this out, this is not required. So what I'm trying to do is, I'm trying to find out, let's say, lagging data frame, just for with column I'm trying to use. So this is, let's say, lag output, okay. And here what we'll have to use, we'll have to use lag. Now whatever from the current output, let's say if I want to find out my previous 2 rows salary or previous row salary, so you can do that, okay. For that, what you will have to do is, you will have to pass that column, which is nothing but salary, and how many previous occurrences you need to jump. If you want to jump 2, you can write jump 2, that's just a numerical representation, okay. And let's copy this and let's paste this, and let's go at a little top, and let's import this, and let's execute this small code. Let's go for each partition, okay. If you see, for each partition there was no previous row, hence I was getting a null record, okay. So here if you'll see, for this row I got my previous row salary, that was 4100. So it's just like how many previous occurrences you need to jump, okay, that's what it tells you with a lag or a lead, okay, it's your call. So the most important thing what you will try to see now is like explode. What is explode? Because this will be heavily needed for you. Why this will be heavily needed? Because there will be scenarios when you would be reading nested JSONs, okay. You will be reading nested JSONs. At that moment of time you will have to explode the data, okay. So what explode does is, it converts your columns to rows. That is just a simple definition if I want to give. PySpark explodes data, that is nothing but column to rows. For that, what we will try to do is, I think I have some data. So this is array data. Let me take this data, and quickly what we will do is, we will do this and we will take a quick break, okay. So let's go over here and let's understand the explode. So data frame explode.py, okay. So this is the data which we will be making use of, and I just need few things from here. Let me copy those and paste it, okay. I don't need this, let's eradicate this, and we have the stuff ready, and we just need to indent that, okay. So I've just done few copy paste. I imported my Spark session, I created my instantiated Spark as a driver program. I have cooked some dummy data. In this dummy data I need to create my data frame, okay. So let's say Spark data frame equals to, let's say what I'm trying to do is spark dot create data frame, and here I'm trying to pass my array data, right. And here in this I can simply pass my column names also. So what I will say is, okay, so the column names are nothing but, the first column name is, let's say, name. After that the second column name is nothing but language, okay. After that we have color, hair, eye, live. So I can say, let's say there are some properties of a human being, okay. So just I'm referencing some column names, and let's try to see the data what we have cooked, okay. Let's execute this small statement and let's see how the data frame is looking to us. So if we remember, let's take the print schema also. And what you will do, will not truncate the data, and let's re-execute this again. If you remember yesterday or maybe last week, so we have seen how to read the data from a struct, how to read the data from an array. Okay, that's what we have seen. So we know now those things. But again, like, more scenarios will be coming when we will be playing with files, and that's where your learning will be tested. Okay, now if you see here, I have an array. One is an array and the other is map. Okay, this map is having a key and value, and this is having an array which is an element of string. Okay, now how does your explode function will help you? As I told you, it will convert your columns to rows. Okay, that's what it says. So let's say I'm trying to explode array explode let's say array data frame equals to. So the data frame name what we have done is df dot. Okay, so I'll try to say select. Okay, the column name which I want to say. So what I'll do, I'll just take one of the column, and here I'll try to explode it. And this exploding, from where it is coming? From pyspark.sql.functions import explode. Okay, and now this should give us that explode. What we are trying to explode, you need to provide that column. So let's say I'm trying to explode a column that is nothing but a language. Okay, and let's say array data frame dot show. Also we will try to see the output of this also, so that you'll understand what exactly the conversion of column to row is happening. Okay, we know like what is pivot and unpivot in SQL. Here also we have pivot and unpivot. Okay, maybe like based on the assignments, you can either make use of pivot, unpivot, or if you want to explode the data, and after exploding the data, if you want to do that, it's your call how you write the code. So if you understand this language where we made an explode, and as I told you, it converts your column to rows. So this has been converted to this. Okay, so there will be some scenarios, or there will be, because this is one of the scenario which I faced in my certification when I gave my Hadoop and Spark developer certification. At that means, like, in that I had one scenario like this. So again, like, if people are up means planning to give that, again you need to be crystal clear on your syntaxes, the errors which you are facing. Okay, so at that moment of time you can appear for certification. Okay, so this is like exploding the data into row, into columns. Similarly, in one of the interview, one question was asked to me, like, when you are trying to explode a map column, what are the two columns which gets generated? If you remember, okay, I did not printed the schema. Means, like, if you remember, like a little while earlier, I printed the schema. In map, we were getting key and value. Okay. See, these small things will test the understanding, because you would be masking your CV either 3.5 years of experience. At that moment of time, just to test whether this person is like a real professional person, or he is just like trying to mask his or her CV by learning and convert. At that moment of time, they'll test you, because in interviews they will test you, and again it depends on the interviewer how in depth internally he wants to test you. Okay, so there was one scenario which came into my mind. So let's say, and we have already seen that. Okay, it's nothing, just to, let's say I'm trying to explode the map data frame. Let's say I'm trying to create this. So data frame dot select, it's nothing, just name, and the column name we have is, we just need to provide that. So the column name is nothing but properties, I guess. Okay, and let's see the output of this. So okay, so we will be just getting a key and value. We know the dictionaries. Okay, so we know like how to get the values from the keys. In a similar fashion, map also have the same behavior. Okay, Not exactly the same behavior, but at least for fetching the values based on the key, we can get the value. Okay, so similar to that. Okay, so these are like small functions for which will help you when we would be doing some assignments, and when I would be sharing you some assignments, this will help you. Okay, so maybe I'll take a pause. Understand the joins. Okay, so very important thing which we'll have to understand is joins. Okay, and do not miss next Saturday's class, because next Saturday, like if you see, we now, as of now, we have finished like almost like basic things which are required for us to write programs. Okay, so next Saturday what I will be showing, see now if you see what I'm trying to do, I'm create a program like here, I'm trying to do right click and execute. Okay, but if you see, all the hard coded values are able to see, I'm able to see everything like hard coded over here. So next Saturday what we will do is, as I told, like what we do in projects. Okay, so what we do is we create some helper programs. There are some helper programs, there are some config programs, then there are some params program. Okay, so we create multiple files, and whenever we write Spark applications, means like our actual requirement, let's say there is a requirement I want to implement change data capture, there is a requirement I want to implement SCD1, or let's say there is a requirement I want to calculate means let's say whichever date it falls to. So let's say the date is today is 18th. Okay, whatever, whether it is like 1st of July or it is 31st of July or it is 21st of July, I always need to see my previous month's data. Let's say there is one requirement. Okay, previous month data. So now this is one application or one job or one code. This is one application. Okay, or one job, you can say. This is one application or one job. So whenever I'm writing the code, I would be referencing all the codes which is written here. So we will be referencing some common parameters, we will be writing some functions over here, and we will be calling it over here. That's how we write the code in our projects. Okay, so that's what I'll show you on next Saturday, so do not miss that. So, and again, recordings will be there, but it's good like if you are available, so that you can ask your doubts and clear it. Okay, and also like today we will seeing the joins which are given, and you already know, but there are a couple of joins which are given a little extra by Spark. Okay, and internally there are some joins or some concepts gets applied. Maybe again we'll try to see that next Saturday, so that's why I'm trying to say do not miss next Saturday's class. Okay, so let's start with joins. Okay, so joins, we all know what are the different types of joins available and why joins are used. Okay, so joins are used to join the data, okay, between the two tables, like if we are coming from database background. So similarly, if we are trying to apply joins in PySpark or Spark to be precise, so we would be joining two or more data frames, right? Because it needs to, there will be a common transformation. Okay, so joins are wide transformations, because if you are trying to join one data frame and two data frame, it can happen like these two are available in different worker nodes, in different executors, and the tasks are there. So there could be a data shuffle over the network between these executors. So that's why joins are considered to be costly transformation. But again, like we cannot avoid it. That's the need of the requirement. Okay, so but internally it comes with optimization process that we will try to understand, okay, with the help of like what is catalyst optimizer and what is tungsten. So that's later. So what we will try to do, the joins which they provides us, okay, same like other. So we have inner, we have cross join, same way like we have outer join, that is nothing but your full outer left. Okay, so we have left, okay, then we have right, okay, full left, right. But two additional things they provide us. So the first thing is left semi, left underscore semi, I guess, left underscore semi, and left underscore anti. Okay, I've never used this, but can be asked in interviews. Okay, so let's understand this with data sets, how we can write. So I already have this data set ready with me for employee and department. We'll take this data and we'll create a new application or a new job. So let's say we are trying to understand joins. Okay, so the data set is this for us, and we are trying to use builder Spark. Okay, so let's copy paste this and let's minimize this. Okay, and let's comment indent this. Okay, and this is not required. So imported one package. Okay, so we created, like, just change the name. So let's say I'm trying to read about joins. So this is one employee data and this is one department data. Okay, and if we just want to quickly create some data frame on top of that, so for what we will do is we'll try to say, let's say, employee calls or employee columns. Okay, so the first column name is, let's say, employee ID. The second column name is nothing but, let's say, employee name. Then we have, let's say, what is this, -1. Let's say this is manager employee ID. I'm not able to, yeah, let's say 1122 -1. I don't know why I have kept -1. Okay, we'll get the data and we'll try to understand. Then let's say, so year. Okay, then afterwards we have 10, so that is nothing but the department as a column. After that we have gender. Okay, and finally we have a sal column. Okay, so these are the few columns which are needed. So we are done with this, and let's, what we will say, this is employee department, because here also we will have department. So let's say this is department calls equals to, the first column name is nothing but my department name, I would say, and here we will say, let's say, department ID. So this is employee ID, employee department, and department ID. Okay, so few columns like I have written. So employee DPT ID, just to see. And let's start creating the data frame on top of this with like spark.create.data frame. Okay, so this is, let's say, employee data frame which I'm trying to create, and I'll just pass my data and my employee calls. So this will give my employee data frame, and similarly I want to create my department data frame. So spark.create data frame, this will give me department data and DPT. Okay, so I should have my data ready in my employee and department. So we all know what is inner join, what is left join, what is full join. Quickly I'll show one, and I'll show like how to write the syntaxes, and then maybe like for others you can replicate, so that we can heavily concentrate on the two things which they are giving us extra. It has a meaning to it. Okay, so let's understand the first one is nothing but a inner join. Okay, what happens in the inner join is the data from the two tables are combined based on the joining condition. Okay, whatever records are matching based on the joining conditions, we will get those records as an output from the two tables or data frame. Rest all data would be discarded, right? That's what the join says. Okay, how we can write? So let's say this is inner join data frame equals to, say, it's a very simple syntax. So you need to say first table name. Anything issue? So is my voice okay?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay, so the first data frame we are trying to see. Okay, then we are trying to join. Okay, what is the second data frame? The second data frame is nothing but my department. This is how you will have to write. After that, what you will have to do is you will have to specify the joining column. Okay, so from the first data frame, that is nothing but employee data frame. Okay, so what I will say, employee data frame, what is the column I want a join? So that is nothing but the column is employee department ID, right? So this is the column name. Okay, equals to, then what is the second table or a data frame? So that is nothing but department data frame. Okay, so there will be not single equal to, there will be double equal to. That's why it was giving errors. From that, what is the column name? So the column name is nothing but a department ID, and what type of join you need to apply, whether it's a inner left outer, full or right. This is how the syntax will get. Okay, so first data frame, join second data frame, there will be a joining condition and the type of join which you want to apply. Okay, so this is how your syntax will be there. Okay, so let's see the output of this, and hopefully we should be able to get the data which is available on the two data frames based on the joining condition, which is based on the department. So here I think I have 50 which is extra, and here I think 40 is not this. Okay, so 40 will not be 40 is there, so we should not get the data of 50. The rest like 10, 20, 30, 40, 10, 20. Okay, 30 is not there, so we should not get the data of 30 and 50. That's what it says. And again, like if you evaluate the data, it will get that. Okay, so it's straightforward. So writing the joins are pretty easy, but there will be some scenarios where you will face data ambiguity issues, in the sense like you will try to write the column names, but you will not be able to, means like you will face there, I know, means like there are some scenario, there are some assignments which I will be giving you, and you will face challenges over there. Okay, at that moment of time, what you will have to do is you will have to alias this. I'm just giving you a hint, but what you'll have to do, nothing, it's just copy paste. So let's say here you have to alias that, here you have to alias that, and you will have to just say employee, and in place of this you will just have to write employee. That's the only addition thing you'll have to do, because there will be some scenarios in the case like, let's say the joining column here also is like, let's say ID, the name of the column is ID, and here also the name of the column is ID. At that moment of time, you will not be, means when you are trying to write the joining condition, when you are trying to reference some columns, it will give you a data ambiguity issue or the column issue. From which table or data frame are you trying to reference this column? At that moment of time, you will have to use this concept. Okay, so that's where I'm just trying to give you a small hint, so that will come into your assignment, and that's where like you'll have to do some twisting and some R&D. Okay, but it's very straightforward. I have given you the hint also. When it comes to writing the other joins, okay, so I'll just say take one. So let's say full. Okay, so that is nothing but your full outer join. So let's copy this same piece, and we just need to change. So here, in case of full outer join, there are different things. Either you can write outer, okay, either you can write full, okay, or you can write full outer also. Let's say full outer join. Now this is not available. Okay, I purposely gave this, and let's execute this. Let's execute this, and it will throw, hopefully it should throw as an error. And again, when it throws you an error, it gives you the suggestions. Okay, if you see, it is telling us unsupported join, and if you see, these are the joins available, supported joins. So that's why I just wanted to show you. See, so many joins are available. So based on that, you can use, like, again, if you are not sure, okay, what does semi join means, even I don't know. So what you'll have to do is you'll have to either Google it, or you'll have to go to the documentation. Okay, so precisely I like 6 to 8 joins which we know from the SQL, and the 2 extra, that's what I know. So again, like if you face any issues or any errors, troubleshoot that and move it. So as I told, like there are ways of like full outer, this is correct syntax, and hopefully it will give us the output. Why? Because we can see over here it is full outer. Again, we can write full underscore outer. Not necessary to remember everything, but whatever syntaxes which you know in sequels, they are carried over here, and you will be able to write your joins nicely. Okay, same it will go with your left outer join. Okay, same it will go with your left. So the only thing is you'll have to change over here. What you will say, either you will write left as a keyword, okay, or else you can write left outer as a keyword. Okay, either you can write left outer. So both should give you the, so let's write this left, and let's write this left. Okay, and let's execute this. Then, so in this what will happen, so we will get all the data, and if the match is not available on a joining key, so the column values for those will be filled with null. Okay, that's what we know: right outer join, full outer join, left outer join. Okay, I hope like you all know this, so that's why I'm just trying to make a move. Okay, so left outer join, because I'm not able to find the condition, so that's why I'm trying to get all the data from left table. Okay, left table, right table, so you are good with it. Okay, any questions in these type of joins, because the normal joins are there. And what is cross join? So you know what is the natural product join or Cartesian join or cross join. So there are different naming conventions, but the behavior is same. Okay, now we'll try to understand the joins which they gives us extra. Okay, and it's a little twisty and turny. Let's try to understand that first. Even like I get confused. So left semi join. Okay, now what does left semi join means is, okay, now left join is similar to inner join. Okay, so left semi join is similar to inner join, but what is the difference? So that similar to inner join, difference being, okay, left semi, okay, left semi returns all columns from left data set and ignores all columns from right data set. It's a simple thing. So what happens in left outer join is we get the entire data from the left table, whether or not that column is matching in the right table or not. Correct? But we know like what is semicircle and full circle, like in the mathematics we know. Okay, so semi is nothing but half. So that's where the left semi join comes. What does left semi join says is it is similar to inner join, which means that let's say I'm having 10, let's say I'm having 20, I'm having 30, and I'm having 50. So this was the first employee. Okay, and let's write DPT over here. Okay, so let's say here I have 10, let's say I have here 10, here I have 40, and here let's say I have 30. Okay, if I apply my left outer join, okay, a traditional left outer join, what will the output? I will get 10, I will get 20, I will get 30, and I will get 50 also, right? When it comes to left semi, what it is telling is this join is similar to inner join, which means that 10 is matching, 10 is matching, 20 is matching, no, 30 is matching, yes. Okay, so difference between left semi is written all the data from the left data sets, which means that 10 and 30 only I will be getting. Okay, that's what I am able to recall. Let's test it, because I have means in projects we never use this, but in interviews they might ask you. So let's test this, because even I get confused many a times while explaining in my previous batches also. So we'll try to compare with this left outer join, and we'll comment this. Okay, let's comment this. This is full is not required for us. Okay, we have the data and we have the left outer join. Now what we will try to do is we'll try to write left semi join. Okay, and we'll try to compare the results. Okay, so let's write a left semi data frame, and we will write a print statement just to understand. 1 2 3 4 5, and we will say this is left outer result, and let's copy this and let's paste this. So this is left semi result. Okay, so what we can do is quickly we can copy this syntax and paste this over here. Okay, so first data frame join, second data frame. Okay, so that's what we will write first. Then we have the joining columns from the two data frames. Okay, and we just need to change the keyword, that is left semi. Okay, and we'll just print the result of this, and let's see the difference. I'm just concerned about that 50. Okay, so let's try to evaluate the data and the result. So let's go to the data. Okay, so this is the left table, right? So we should get all the records 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so here like we are getting, so we are getting 1, 2, 3. So all the data is there. So there is no thing. And if you see, this department 50 was not available, hence the columns were referenced as null, right? When it comes to left semi, we got this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but 6 was not available. Okay, but in my left outer join I was getting that data, but when it comes to left semi I am not getting that data. Okay, so I was able to recall it appropriately. Are we able to get this join, left semi join?
So, Chef, this is similar to inner join, right? Then,
It is similar to inner join. Yes, you can say that it is similar to your inner join.
and then what is the difference?
What is the difference? So it can happen, yeah. So I do not find anything. There is one thing which I am not able to recall. There is one point. Okay, so when you are trying to apply, okay, yeah, I got that. I remembered that point. So if in interview they ask you like, what is the difference between left semi join and a normal join? Anyone? There's just one small. You can see in the output only.
We'll exclude the row, I mean the
Perfect.
column.
Right
Perfect.
table column
Yes,
list.
yes. So what is the difference between a normal, sorry, what is the difference between inner join and left semi join is, no doubt it is behaving the same, which means that on the base of inner join condition, I'm getting the data from the two tables. But in inner join, I'm getting the data from of my left and right table also, right? When it comes to left, I'm just getting the data from my left table only. That is the difference. People coming from ETL background, okay, so we know like there is one lookup, means what we do is we try to write a lookup override query and we try to join something and we get the fetch up the same results. So it is similar to that, how I can relate. But to answer your question, we are not getting the data from the right table, even if the data is, even if the condition is matching. Got it?
But Chef, we can achieve the same thing using
Agreed,
this.
agreed, agreed. So then the performance step comes into picture. What happens over there is I can achieve the same thing. So what I can do is I can apply, and again like that lady, I think Umang. So again, if you recall that the question, I'm just trying to relate, but that is not the answer. She asked like how that spark is lazily evaluated. Again, that her answer and your answer will get collaborated. Okay, so coming to your answer, I can achieve here also, but what I will be doing first, I will be applying an inner join, right? And after that I will be writing one more dot select clause and I would be writing this select columns. Don't you think there is an extra burden to select this column on my code, which I can achieve with directly with this left semi join, right?
Okay, okay.
That's where it will help you. Okay, any questions on the left semi join? No, looks good. Okay, if it looks good, then let's see the other one. Okay, so that is nothing but your left anti. Okay, so left anti join. Just remember this with the perspective of interviews. Okay, otherwise I don't see any means, like again, like it depends from the project to project, but at least in my career of like 3.5 years of Spark experience, I have never used this type of join. Okay, cool. Now what does left anti join means is, okay, so left anti-join, okay, does the exact does the exact opposite to left semi. Okay, now what it will do? So left anti join returns only only columns, okay, only columns from the left data set for non-matched records. Okay, so that's what it says. Now what it is trying to say to us is, okay, it is trying to do the exactly opposite of my left semi. Okay, I understood. Okay, so it is exactly opposite, but what exactly that opposite is? So it is telling me it will return only those columns from the left data set for non-match records. So I think like we should get like that 6 wala data, we were not able to get that, so we should be able to get that. Let's go and let this be here only. So we'll copy this, we'll paste this, and this is left anti-join. We'll change this, the keyword, and the keyword should be left anti, and we will need to say this is left anti results, and it does not matter. So no, we'll change this because it will get confused with the earlier data frame and this data frame, right? So let's change this as well, and let's execute this, and we should be able to preview our result in front of us, and it will give us the result, and let's understand that. See, ideally, like these are just to get you familiar, because it should not happen that when I'm trying to give you assignments, you are getting bothered that this has not been taught and I'm not able to get that. So I'm just trying to save your time. But again, like as a devil, as I earlier also told, as a trainer, it will be becoming difficult for me. But again, I will not be missing the concepts. That's what I told. Okay, so but there are so many things, so I will be just making a move which I assume that we all know this either from a previous experience. So that's where like yesterday's functions and today's, I didn't went a lot of explanation. I just gave an overview because you might be knowing, and wherever it is required, like explode and like these kind of joins and count distinct, so wherever there is something new which is spark presenting to us, I'm going ahead and explaining. Okay, so I hope like this we got left anti and left semi. Okay, again, like if you see, I purposely made an error a little while earlier, and there were so many types of coming. What is semi join? Even I don't know this. If you want to explore, and maybe like if you want to share that knowledge with the group, you are always welcome. Any questions till joins over here? No questions? Okay, then we have a self join, right? So we know what is self join, joining the same table and deriving the output. Okay, so I'll give that as an assignment, so you'll have to work on that, and hopefully it's like same thing like how we write in a traditional sequence. So it's just like writing. Any questions in the joins which I can address so that it can help you in your understanding?
So for left semi
ठीक है.
join, so can this be achieved by intersection also of the two data frames?
Intersection, if I'm trying to do, so I will be getting the matching data, but again if you see, ma'am, so there also we will be getting
Like
all the
in
required columns.
Yeah, okay.
Right, yes, definitely your thinking perspective is like good, and you're trying to reference here and there, and that's a very good thing. So that's how like you'll have to start relating things. Can I do this? Can I do that? But to answer yes, there means we can relate it. Yes, we would be getting an intersection output, but the columns will be like same. It will be like inner.
Inner, right? Got it.
Yeah, yeah. Any questions on joins? No questions? Okay. So no questions, then let's try to understand, okay, what if I want to join 3 tables? So how will you write your join? I mean, it's like how you write your joins in your traditional sequence. What we do is, let's let's say this is table 1. Okay, we have table 2 and we have table 3. Okay, what we do is first we try to join these two tables, right? Whatever the output which we are trying to get, so the output of this will be joined with this third table, right? So in a similar fashion, in Spark also or PySpark also, you will be doing the same thing. If a scenario is coming there, you have to join multiple tables. At that moment of time also, you will be doing those things. Okay, I hope like you can tackle that easily. Okay, any questions in that? So that is one thing like which is coming from traditional SQL, so I'm just trying to reference that. Yes or no? Hello, is my voice
Yes,
audible?
yes, yes.
Okay, cool, thanks.
Yes,
Okay,
yes, sir.
so these are the joints which we need to concept. Now let's say some scenarios. Now whatever we were trying to write the code, okay, so this is called DSL, okay, which is nothing but domain specific language. Okay, we can write the SQL queries also. Okay, let's say you are very good in writing SQL queries and there is no performance comparison between the DSL, that DSL will work faster, or the SQLs. Both work in the same capabilities because ideally they are nothing but a data frame. They are using the internal optimization process of Catalyst and Tungsten Optimizer, which I'll explain later. Okay, so what we can do is, let's comment this code for the time being. Okay, let's go a little. So we have the data for employee data frame and department data frame. Now let's say what we are trying to do is, now I will just show you how to create the temporary tables. Okay, and then you know how to write your SQL queries. Okay, now I have a data frame. So simply what you will do is, so I have an employee data frame. Okay, here you will just write create or replace. Again, there if you see create or replace temporary view, create or replace temporary global view. So there will be an interview question: what is the difference between create or replace, or let's say create temp view or create? So the same will follow for create or replace. It's just like replacing. Okay, so what is the difference between create or replace temp view or create or replace global view? The name itself suggests temporary is like just only for one session, and when you're talking about global, so it's like referencing to all the sessions which are available. Okay, but again, like I have documented that in the interview question answers. Maybe like once we finish our 4 months training program, I will hand over you all those things. Okay, now what I'm trying to do is, I'm trying to create a temp view on this data frame, and you need to name this. You can name anything, it's your choice. I'm naming that as an employee. Okay, once you name that, okay, simply you can start writing your SQL queries. Okay, so SQL data frame equals to, how you can write, so whatever like you have, just you need to say spark.sql. Okay, and simply what you will say, select all the records from my table which you have created, and just say SQL data frame dot show, and let's execute this. So what now we are trying to do is, we are trying to read some files, create a data frame out of it. Okay, and we are trying to write SQL queries on top of 2D data frames. Okay, ideally it's the same format which we get in data frames also, but if you are, let's say, very accustomed to it, means like you're not good, means like by practice you're not getting the syntaxes of DSL, you can convert those data frames to SQLs and achieve the same thing. But what I would say, there are some projects, in my project we always follow the DSL ways. So that's a best practice which has been given to us, and if we need to go, sometimes we go in SQL. But in the same account, in the different module, couple of my colleagues are writing all the codes in entirely in SQL. So it depends from project to project. There is no harm or no performance degradation where you write in data frames or SQL. I have not seen, at least. Okay, if you are comfortable writing in data DSL way, go with DSL way. If you're writing comfortable in SQL way, write it in SQL way. I would advise, or I would suggest, go ahead with DSL, because that's where like we are here to learn. Okay, because SQLs we already know. So later on, let's say if a scenario comes, I want to write my row number concept, rank, dense rank, I can write it over here also. The same thing what I have written in the earlier explanation which I have given. If I want to write a self join, I can write a self join also here. Left outer join, right outer join, full outer join, whatever the requirement is, you can write it in SQL and get it. I will be showing very good scenarios moving ahead. As of now, this is very early stage when we will be doing integrations. So at that moment of time, what we will do is, okay, we will from the PySpark, okay, so from Spark, that is nothing as of we are learning PySpark, okay. So from here, we will try to connect to a MySQL database. Okay, as of now, MySQL database is installed in a VM. That's why I will try to connect. But the same properties will apply if you are trying to access Oracle, Teradata, Postgres, or any databases. Only the thing is, the JDBC connection names will change. The rest concept or the flow of writing the code will be the same. So what we will do moving ahead, we will perform some integrations. Integrations in the sense like, here in this code, PySpark code, we will try to connect to a MySQL database, read the table as a data frame, okay, perform some operations and write the data to a Kafka topic. We can do those things. Or else what we can do is, from this PySpark, we can read the data from Hive database, perform some transformations and write the data back to S3 on cloud, or maybe Redshift as a database or DynamoDB as a database in cloud. So all those integrations are possible, and we will be seeing that at a later stage. Okay, so just to make you, so let's remove this. So either you can write your ANSI 89 queries or ANSI 92 queries. Okay, now what is ANSI 89 and what is ANSI 92? I hope like you might be knowing this, but let's quickly just let me copy this print statement and let's piece this. So this is, let's say, ANSI 89 method, where like we were used to write the earlier thing. So I have created a data frame. Okay, now here I'm writing a small query just to make you aware, and for that let me take my department data frame also. Okay, so create a replace temp view and let's take my, I have both the temp views ready with me. Now what I'm trying to write, I'm trying to write a small query. What is that query? Select star from employee and a table alias it, department D. Again I'm trying to do a table alias and I'm trying to write a where clause. Okay, in this where clause, where I'm trying to write where e dot employee ID equals to D dot, and let me copy this column name. Okay, I'm just trying to write this equal this. So here if you see this where clause, so this is coming like how we were used to in the older methods. The same query can be written in the newer methods, which is called 92 methods. So ANSI 92 methods, where we explicitly define the keywords. It's the same thing. So SQL, let's say 89, and let's say SQL 89, and here let's come SQL 92, and similarly here comes SQL. So what we are trying to do, it's nothing the difference, it's just a small difference that we are trying to say, that is, this is nothing but my inner join. I'm trying to apply an inner join on these two tables, okay, and when I'm trying to apply a join on these two tables, the joining condition would be on this column. That's the only difference how we specify. So nowadays if you see in your projects, you are explicitly trying to write. Again, it's not that this has been completely eradicated, because the past projects are running. You might find that kind of scenarios also and this kind of scenarios also. Okay, and there is again a best practice, again, like we have asked us in our project to use the ANSI 92 methods. So moving ahead, again it depends from your project to project best practices, what they are asking us, and how. Because when it goes to so there is some issue, let's understand. Because when it goes to peer review, at that moment of time, it gives you, they will tell you, okay, why did you follow the best practice? Because there is a checklist which they try to do, and again, like, it will be not a good thing. So what it is telling, cannot resolve this column, and there is some data ambiguity column name. So the column name is nothing but employee dpt id, right? So what is the issue? So on E and department D, so E dot employee ID, okay. So we have, this is the column name, right? So we just need to take this, and what is the,
Steve, joining condition is incorrect.
yeah, I'm just trying to change that. So this is the joining condition. So here also, if you see E dot, let me take this column names. The column names which I was referencing, those who are like inappropriate. Control C and Control V. Let's re-execute this piece. Okay, so don't get panic whenever you are trying to get issues. Okay, always read the logs. Most of the time you will be able to find your issues or the code issue, because you are writing your own code. Okay, so right, as of now, again, I have not implemented exceptional handling because it's too early to show everything in one go. Now you have become familiar with all the concepts. Maybe from next Saturday onwards, again, like, I will tell you what you have to do from next Saturday onwards. As of now, it's this is okay. So either, like, you can create some tables and write SQL queries, that is sparks.sql, or you can follow the DSL methods. Okay. So these are the concepts which I needed to cover from my end. Okay. So I think, like, we'll end today over here. Any questions, I'll try to take. I'll stop the recording and I'll take the questions.